Well, hi. Let me tell you, I'm starting picks from Joe's. Welcome everybody. Yep, it's Kansas. As you can see, I got got up, showered, and I'm ready. I'm ready to go for Kansas. Yeah. ESPN Game Day now is doing the thing about West Virginia TCU. Dane Holgorsen is the best, man. He's great, and I thought they just gave a very interesting stat. The last time he had West Virginia 5-0, lose their next 5 games. So it'll be very fascinating. We'll talk more about it. I think that's really the marquee game of the day in the Big 12. But I thought the beginning of that was great. There's Reese Davis. There's no couching it any other way. West Virginia's on fire. And you heard somebody laughed on the set there before they cut away. There you go. West Virginia has not beaten an FBS team with a winning record. Anyway, so there you go. Picks from Joe's off to a weird start. Kansas at Kansas this week. You got obviously some teams on bye weeks. You got Baylor and Iowa State on bye week. Of course, Baylor every week should be a bye week because they shouldn't be playing, and every week's a forfeit as far as I'm concerned. So there you go. So we'll talk about a couple of things today. I have to say it's a little bit of a win-win for me. I don't know if it's really even a win and a win. My son's soccer team, who is undefeated, and my son has scored, he's averaging a goal a game, was supposed to take on the other undefeated team in their league today. Unfortunately, we've got, a monsoon coming through, and it's blowing and it's cold, and the field where they play is doesn't traditionally take moisture very well. So predictably, they canceled the game for field conditions, not because of the rain. It's not raining a whole lot right now, or it's very light and intermittent. So they'd have them play. Itself is just, I'm sure, is a mud hole up there. So he's not playing. I thought, oh, great. I get to watch the beginning of the game. Got up, put together a little beef stew. It's in the slow cooker. By the way, you folks that don't have a lot of experience dealing with recipes, especially you get them off a website or something, it says the prep time was 20 minutes. The prep time was like an hour and 15 minutes. What the hell are they talking about? Whoever did it either did enough for like one person, or they were on crack or speed or something, or they didn't say that, well, it's prep time 20 minutes if you've got 12 people doing each separate task. Ridiculous. Prep time 20 minutes. It took us an hour and 15 minutes, but it's in the slow cooker now. 8.5 hours. It's 6 hours just in the slow cooker, and then you uncover for 2 hours to 2.5 hours, and let it cook down a little bit, and you stir it some. But should be pretty good. Should be a nice comfort food for a day here that the temperature's dropping. By the time the day's mid-afternoon, and wet and windy. So kind of a classic Northeast fall, mid-fall day, day where all the trees today and tomorrow. And here they go talking about Baker Mayfield and how when he was at Texas Tech he sucked. That's what they're going to talk about. He's at Texas Tech, he sucked. He goes to OU, and he's the next coming of Brett Favre. So anyway, let's get into the games a little bit. What do we got? Well, I have to say, all right, you know what? Before I started the games, I'm going to go back to the win-win. So my son's not playing soccer, and I thought, great, I'm going to get to sit at home and watch the whole game, or at least watch the first part. Hopefully OSU's blowing them out, and that's the end of it. Well, because we have the stew in, we got it going. So that means 3:30 Eastern time. I've got to take the lid off and start stirring. So I can't be gone then. And the wife, of course, has a list because, you know, soccer's canceled. So, hey, you can go to Costco and you can go to Stu Leonard's. Now, fan-frigging-tastic. Well, I was going to miss the start of the game anyway, so I figured I'd do a quick picks from Joe's, talk about the games a little bit, and then go do the honeydew list. There you go. Games today. I always put OSU as the game of the day. This is the only way for me. This is the game of the day is if OSU blasts them. And they're not playing in Stillwater. Trips to Lawrence were like came down to the end of the game. OSU won by a touchdown in 2012. You know, again, barely won in 2014. You know, if not for Tyreek Hill running a kick, you know, Kansas being stupid enough to kick to Tyreek Hill when they hadn't kicked to him all day. So there's nothing good game for OSU unless they just annihilate them. They just have to annihilate them. To me, that could be good. Okay. If OSU goes in here and they're flat, and I think they're coming out flat. I think they're going to come out stumbling around. The offensive play calling is going to be conservative. God forbid you show anything. God forbid you pull out any, thing. God forbid you blow them out and you give your starters a rest. You know, you had a bye week. You know, maybe you get a half a game, maybe 3/4, 2/3, 3/4 of a game in, and then let the starters come out. Just, you know, don't dick around with this game. It's just, you've seen that Kansas has the ability to play people close. If you show up dead, which they can, OSU definitely has the ability to do that. Kansas will give them a game. You know, they'll give them a game. Question I've got is, will there be more Kansas fans or OSU fans at the game? The attendance up there, you know, it's a nice fall day, 50 degrees, you know, low 50s. Perfect fall football weather. Who knows? Line on the game is 23.5. That, I don't know, the over under 60. So, you know, 40-20. I hate the line. I hate the over under. Just, I feel like OSU, you know, I feel like this is the deal where OSU comes out and wins like 30-14. Just, you know, game. Hopefully it's not that. If you're tooling around Lawrence, go on StubHub if you want to go on today. $35. 82 tickets available on StubHub, starting at $35. Not a lot of tickets, but it is game day, so probably some stuff got snatched up. That's game number 4. The other 3 games are good, intriguing games. It could be, I think all 3 games are intriguing. All 3 games are good. Kansas at Kansas State. It's a toss-up. Texas favored by 1.5 in Manhattan. Both teams coming in with identical records: 3-3 on the year, 1-2 in conference. Over/unders 54. That's a lot of points. That's like 30-24 type of thing. Holy crap. I mean, I'm feeling like this game, I feel like this is a 21-14 or like 17-14 type game. Like 2020. These teams combined for 54 points. I feel like that would be an under bet all day. I think Kansas State can win this game outright. I think they can. Their offense can muster anything. I think they, you know, at home, Snyder's, they're well coached. It's the Purple Wizard. Never mind, I'd like to see Kansas State win. I think that'd be beautiful. ESPN2, that's the other noon game. OSU's on at noon on Fox Sports 1. That's noon Eastern. Texas at Kansas State on ESPN2. So for anybody who's only got ESPN2, that is time to take a nap. That game will be a slow mover. Don't expect fireworks in that game. Go to the number 2. This was close for me between the number 1 and number 2 games this week. And I went OU at Texas Tech, number 2. OU coming in 3-0 in the Big 12. Tech is 1-2, and on a little bit of a spiral here. You know, they lost at Kansas State. Got beat up by West Virginia. I mean, got throttled by West Virginia. Is West Virginia's defense better than OU's? Okay, probably. I think so. But I don't know. I think Kingsbury's in a little bit of trouble there. I don't know if you'd call it a hot seat, but that's definitely, I find that intriguing. Is OU really moving along here in the Big 12? You know, they had a tough game against TCU, but they won. Took care of business eventually against Texas. This is I think if OU's, if they're making a run in the Big 12, this is a game they should win, much like West Virginia won. They should win handily. That game is at 8 o'clock tonight. That's a good marquee game. Potentially, there'll be some fireworks. There could be some offense. It's on Fox tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern. We got OU's favored by 14. Feels like a lot. I don't know. That's borderline. This kind of a game you could easily win by 14, and it's not a blowout by any means. Over-under's 85.5. I don't know. Look what West Virginia did with Texas Tech last week. That means both teams scoring 45. I don't know. I don't know if OU's defense is that bad. So that over-under's got me a little flummoxed. 348 tickets on StubHub at $61. So again, if you're looking to grab a ticket and go to the game tonight, StubHub. The number 1 game this week, I think without questions, TCU at West Virginia. TCU 2-1, only losses to OU. Bad win at Kansas. West Virginia on a roll, 5-0, throttled Texas Tech. That was the thing that got me, is they really whipped Texas Tech. You expect they were going to score on Texas Tech's defense, but man, West Virginia's defense just stuffed Texas Tech, figuratively. So TCU at West Virginia. I'm thinking West Virginia is going to win this at home. What's the line? 6. They're laying 6. I don't know. I think this is going to be a tighter. It's less than a touchdown. Tough line. Less than a touchdown. I think, it's not going to be like a 1-point game. I think it's a field goal to a 10-point game, probably. That's a tough line. Over under 65.5. You're talking 40-20 is a 60-point. That feels a little high. Based on what we saw with Texas Tech. Is TCU's offense better than Tech's? I don't know. It's hard to tell. I think that over-under is a little high. I think all the over-unders are a bit high. I think the closest one maybe is OSU at Kansas is maybe the closest one. I think the over-unders are all high. The lines are, and Vegas gets those things right. They're trying to split the money in that, and they're close. You got a lot of tickets out there on StubHub. 522 tickets available, starting at $66. That's a lot of tickets out there on StubHub. Well, it's not a rainy day down there. The rain's all up in my area. I'm about 4 hours from Morgantown. So it's just a nice, it's cool, breezy fall day down there. Wind's blowing a little bit. I think West Virginia wins this. Touchdown to 10 points. I think their defense, I think, is going to be the difference. We'll see. So my picks won't cover. K-State's a dog. I think they win outright. West Virginia win, and I'm hedging towards they cover. I think OU wins. I'm not extremely confident about, well, let's put it this way. I'm less confident about them not covering than I am about them covering, I should say. But I think just for that, I'm going to say that they're not going to cover. And I hate the over-unders. I would go under with all of them myself. I'm not a gambling guy. I don't gamble. But if I was, I think I'd probably go the under on all the games. But those last three games, OSU, Kansas. But the other three games, definitely intriguing, I think, are interesting and could be decent to watch. Good slate of games, I think, today overall for the Big 12. Who's ready for some basketball? I'll tell you what. Underwood's got me jacked up, really jacked up. And here's the thing. Talent-wise, is at a drastically different level of talent than what Travis Ford had last year. And don't think Phil Forte out. Don't think Juwan Evans out. Think full cupboard of players. I personally don't see the talent level being, just amazingly different. However, his coaching style is definitely different than Travis Ford. I've said this before. They even if they're an overachieving dog most of the year, they should look different. If this is really going to be different with Brad Underwood, it should look different on the court. They should just look different. Travis Ford had the team playing fairly. They played decent defense. They weren't a dud defensively last year, especially. I just think where I think it should look different is offensively. I think they should come out and you should see them moving. None of this, what we used to see a lot was a lot of standing around. They would lose the ability to move. I mean, call it motion, call it whatever you want to call it, but players should be moving, always moving. That was, the simplest form of it. I coached JV boys basketball. I've coached quite a bit of basketball in my life. I haven't done it for quite some time, but the last team I had was a junior varsity boys high school. And the coach says, well, what kind of offense are you running? I said, well, I have one basic set. That's it. If we're being played man to man, I've got a 1 or 2 move and pick set. All right. And once you're through that, if you're still covered, it all breaks down into motion. Find an open space. Keep moving. If you're standing still more than a couple seconds, you're going to be doing laps, push-ups, something. And you need to have guys playing together as groups a lot. All right, for this to really, if you're doing something like what I did, you need a group of guys that gets used to where everybody likes to go, who likes to pick for who. But there's no standing still. There's just no standing still. We didn't have anybody who could take folks off the dribble. So there was just no standing still and letting, spreading out and letting somebody take somebody to the rack. Now, OSU's a little different. They've got, Juwan Evans more than capable of breaking down a defense. Forte's got, he's got good ball handling skills. So I think you've got some guys that, hey, push come to shove, you can say, all right, clock's winding down. Somebody's got to break the defense down. You've got some people that can do that. But I think offensively is where we should see them look. This should look different. Taking shots or not, it should look different out of the gate. November 1st coming quick. I can't wait. I will be jacked up to see every single game, at least for the first month. I don't care that they're playing Little Sisters and Poor. I'm so excited for them to go out to Hawaii. I think that's great. Puts the school, the team on a national stage. Even if you go out there and get beat, you're going. People are seeing your name. This is what a lot of folks. Yeah, okay, a little sidebar into politics. There's a lot of folks don't understand about Donald Trump. Not a Trump fan. I think most of you can figure that out. But knows how to brand and put his name out there. As he said, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Oklahoma State could go out, 4 or 5 years, consecutive years, and just go out there and get thrashed every time. You're putting your name on a national, billboard when you go compete with these better programs, all right, or bigger name programs, marquee programs. Put your name up next to theirs. That's what people see. You're getting beat. Well, if you're going and doing this stuff and you're playing the big names, that's a stage, and kids like to be on that stage. It's an opportunity to show, and so the fact that they're doing something like this, I think, is fantastic. Really excited about it. I'm really looking forward to the first month of the season. Like I said, I think they're gonna look different. Okay, really look different. Little side conversation here about coaches in the Big 12. All right, quick thoughts. Kansas, I busted on them a little bit in the Cowboys Ride for Free roundtable. Bad for whoever goes there to coach, because you have no commitment from the university to build the program. As a basketball school, period, Kansas could go FCS in football, honest to God. All right, and they probably wouldn't be a 500 team there. Okay. It's Beatty. The signs I see, he's a decent coach. They played hard. You just, against TCU, you have to have talent. And I mean, you're devoid of talent. North Dakota State has way more talent on their football team than Kansas. Okay, that says something. Okay, how do you get people to come to Lawrence? How do you get them to come there? I mean, you've got to be some incredible X's and O coach and a great talent evaluator. You got to go out and find 1- and 2-star players. A Justin Blackman, that kind of gobbledygook. So anyway, they're showing us that's a riot. This is UTSA Rice. The lineman come running on, knocks the holder down. That's great. That's just fantastic. They just don't have talent. I mean, I feel bad for him. He's trying like hell. You got to give the guy 4 or 5 years. At a school like that, look, if you go to Texas, I'm giving a guy 3 years. Go to OU, I'm giving him 3 years, because getting players to come play for you shouldn't be an issue. Okay. You got a 3-year deal. Get your guys that by year 3, I should be seeing something. That's why Charlie Strong at Texas, he's cooked. If I'm not seeing anything better than what we're seeing this year in 3 years, you can't get a quarterback recruit in there in 3 years? Dude, you're done. All done. I mean, just done. But you go to a place like Kansas, or you go to a place like Kansas State, you go to a place like Iowa State. No offense necessarily, but a place like they're not marquee. You need much longer to build in your players and build in your system. Him at least 4 to 5 years. I mean, he seems okay. Iowa State. I'm much more concerned at Iowa State with what the heck is his name? How am I doing? Todd. What do I want to say? Todd something. There it is. Football coach. How am I? I don't even have it written down. Matt Campbell, Todd, good Lord. Matt Campbell came from Toledo, was pretty good at Toledo. So I don't know. I'm more concerned about him turning something around. And when you say turning something around, I'm talking turning Iowa State into a winning program. Somebody you don't want to, you absolutely don't want to play in Ames. So we'll see. Who else we got? We got, as we work our way down the chain, as I said, Kingsbury, I think his arm. I think the inability to get defense going down there is just mind-boggling. Offense is, I think Mahomes is beat up. They lost Jakeem Grant, who's playing in the NFL. I mean, that's a serious talent. So Kingsbury's seat might be getting a touch warm. We talked about Charlie Strong. I think he's done. I think just a wicked collapse. He'll last to the end of the season. We make our way up. Who am I getting into here? K-State. Bill Snyder's at K-State till he decides not to coach anymore. So let's hope he makes the decision to leave before it goes in the shitter. I love Bill Snyder. He's just the epitome of sportsmanship and everything that's kind of good about being a coach and being a college coach. TCU, same thing. I think Patterson's kind of theirs. I think you got guys that are at their schools as long, relatively speaking, as long as they want to be. I think you've got Snyder, you got Gundy, and you've got Patterson. And I don't see any of those guys. I don't see them having teams that go into these horrible, 3-8. They suck. Multiple seasons of that. It's not like the program's a winning program and then they're all of a sudden going to fall off the chart. Say out of those three coaches, those guys are all going to be at the respective institutions as long as they want to be, barring unforeseen circumstances. Then you go to OU. Dana. I think Dana's a great fit at West Virginia. I just think he fits the culture there tremendously. Whether he can turn into a successful head coach at West Virginia, the team is looking like he's possibly turning a corner this year. Maybe it's, again, we're halfway through. They're 5-0, 2-0 in the conference. Got a lot of football left. Dana, if they continue with these middling seasons, 5-7, 7-5, 8-4, stuff like that, which last with something like that going on. I mean, honestly, this is year 5. I think this is year 5 for Holgorsen. I think he's in solid position. I obviously don't follow a lot of the West Virginia talk, but I think he's pretty comfortable. Depending on what goes on, obviously in the season. But he's one of those coaches that, hey, as long as he keeps winning, I think he's there, kind of as long as he wants to be. As long as he keeps winning, he starts putting together some 5-7 seasons. mixed in there over the course of 5-6 years, then I think at some point school could say, hey, it's time to make a change type of thing. Bob Stoops at OU. You know, he's a heck of a coach. I think they are challenged with recruiting for whatever reason. OU, I don't believe, has been able to garner the type of athletes they used to, rake in all the time. There are more winning football programs out there. TV's everywhere. I've talked about this before, that the proliferation of TV is really the downfall of most of the just programs. Is Michigan looking good this year? Is Ohio State looking good? Bama's looking like a juggernaut. So I think essentially what happens, it's not the end of elite programs. I think it's the whittling down of elite programs. Because now it becomes about, hey, if you want to win a national championship, Bama with Nick Saban, you're going to Ohio State with Urban Meyer. Okay, you're going there because those guys might win something. Okay, the odds are high. Just about everybody else is a crapshoot. So kids are at that point. Kids are just looking at, well, if I can't go win a national championship, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go someplace where I can play. I can be on TV, which is just everywhere. Shot, if it's possible, I've got a shot at the NFL, or I've got a shot at some type of further career in football. So honest to goodness, it's I think really it's tough this day and age. And listen, Stoops been there a long time. Okay. 1999, 2000. So he's getting close. He's closing in on 20 years at that place. Time for a coach, and the fact that they're not consistently every year competing for a national championship, because that's what OU football was about. Their expectations now, it seems like, that has dropped a little bit. Well, we might not compete for a national championship this year, but we expect to win the Big 12 every year. Okay. Well, not even that's happening. Are you competing for the Big 12 title? Yes. But you're not winning a bunch of Big 12 titles now. All right. I mean, good Lord, what has happened in the last, since the conference got away from the divisions, round robin format, things have changed a bit for OU, even at the conference level. So, they're coming into this game 4-2 after just a bad start against Houston. Houston's a good enough team. It's one of those deals where Houston's a good enough team. If they don't show up to play, you're going to lose. Ohio State's a real good football team, and OU's defense isn't that great. Is that a bad loss? I think it's a bad loss that they didn't look better in the game. But they're, now at 4-2, I think, again, they need to run the table. I think they need to say run the table. I think they need to be at least playing on the last day of the set. Bedlam for them needs to be about the Big 12 title. If it's not, if they're out of that mix before that game, is Bob Stoops' seat hot? Yeah, his seat's hot. I'd say his seat's hot. Is he likely to lose his job? No, but he's got to turn around, and he's got to show that he can turn around and have a great year next year. Playing in the college football playoff last year was a little bit of a step. Absolutely thrashed by Clemson. They got thrashed. It didn't look good. Looked like they weren't ready to play. That's a bad sign. Bob's got a little, they call him Big Game Bob. Look, as OU played well and won some big games. Yeah, look what they did to Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. They were a huge underdog going into that game. They just, at the same time, they've won some big games. At the same time, they've lost some horrible games. They've looked horrible in some big spots in his tenure. Boise, think back to the Boise State game. Think back to the Texas game last year, please. That was awful. So anyways, would his seat be, I think his seat's better than warm. I think his seat is hot. Is it a type of a seat like Charlie Strong? No, Charlie Strong's done. And if he's not done, officially done. It won't matter what happens to the Big 12. Texas, you're just stinking. And you just, as a program, it's just terrible. I mean, Texas is what I wish Baylor was. Well, no, I wish Baylor was Kansas. I wish they could go back to the days where they just can't win football games. That institution. But Texas, I mean, what a waste of an institution. Waste, complete waste. You got Shaka Smart. You're going to turn into a basketball school now. Shaka Smart, great hire. Look overall at the Big 12 with basketball. I mean, it's amazing how football is suffering here a bit, but basketball in the Big 12 ain't going anywhere. And that's why I think the Big 12 should stay where it is. And why, don't mess with football only, expansion crap. Bring somebody in who's got a mediocre football team and a great basketball program. Bring somebody in who's got a better football program, but maybe has mediocre basketball. Somebody was, one of the ADs talking about, we don't want to bring in programs who, we don't need more Kansas and Iowa States. You can only have one or two Kansas and Iowa States, because even if you bring in other shitty teams, they're going to beat Kansas. Okay? If you're bringing people into the conference that can't beat Kansas and Iowa State on a given Saturday, you've got a problem. That's where your problem starts. About that, I mean, you got a chance to bring in Cincinnati, BYU, Boise. I mean, whoever you bring in, Memphis. Whoever you bring, Houston, whoever the hell you bring in. I'm not just sitting here debating who the good candidates are. Bring two teams in so you can then go have your championship game. If you don't bring teams in, why the hell are you having a championship game? It's the stupidest idea ever. Ever. Worst idea ever. Dumb. So anyway, that's that. If you're traveling to the game, travel safe. If not, stay home, stay warm, get in front of that TV, enjoy some comfort food and a couple of drinks, a couple of beverages. We got Dos Equis loaded up in the fridge. Dos Equis Amber is loaded up and ready to go. So everybody have a great day. Enjoy some football. Enjoy a very good day, what I think, outside of OSU, Kansas. A very good day, what I think is a very good day of Big 12 football. So everybody have a great Saturday. Have a safe Saturday. We'll talk to you next week.